بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Inshallah, in few sessions that we are going to have, we will try to study as much as possible some aspects of Islamic theory of education, Islamic pedagogy, or what we call at-ta'lim wa tarbiyah. Today, I will talk about the significance of knowledge and teaching and learning. Inshallah, in the coming sessions, we will talk about some of the aims of Islamic education. What do we want to achieve? And also some of the manners that we have to observe in teaching and learning. And inshallah, if we have time, then we can go into more practical issues. If you want to understand the significance of ilm or knowledge in Islam, you have to be examining the Quran, the Hadith, Islamic theology, philosophy, mysticism, ethics. Just these are the minimum. And then you would see there are so many references to ilm that you would be surprised. I am not exaggerating when I say knowledge is one of the greatest, or perhaps, this part I say perhaps, but I can argue for it, but I say perhaps the greatest, but at least I say one of the greatest qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and any intelligent being that wants to be moving towards perfection. I know this is a big claim and I can, inshallah discuss this, but this is not exaggeration. Let us start with the Quran. And if I have time, I talk about, theology and philosophy. If not, then our discussion, we can discuss. When it comes to the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduces himself, one of the qualities that the Quran very much emphasizes on is Allah's knowledge. We have hundreds of verses in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes on his knowledge. It can be through using derivative forms of ilm, alim, or can be khabir, or can be in an indirect way. For example, nothing is hidden from him. He knows the secrets, he knows shuhud and ghaib, in many, many different ways. And by using many, many different terms, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about his knowledge. For two reasons. One, because knowledge is a very important quality that the Creator, our Lord, should have. Can you imagine a Creator who runs the world without knowledge? It doesn't, make sense. Knowledge is a key requirement for being able to create and maintain and sustain the world. But there is another reason. For our connection to God, it's also very important that we know that He knows. We know that everything that we do, even if we do it in private, He knows. Everything that we say, He knows. Every intention that we make, He knows. Our future, He knows. Our past, He knows. And these are all important. I am not just saying these things without reason. Each of these things are very important. It's very important for us, for example, to know that He knows the future. Otherwise, how can He help us? He knows our past. Therefore, we feel responsible to correct if we have done anything bad in the past. So, He knows all these things to the extent that the Quran says actually one of the reasons for creation is to make human beings aware of God's knowledge and God's power. In Surah Talaq, if you go towards the end of Surah Talaq, you have this ayah, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الله الذي خلق سبع سماوات ومن الأرض مثلهن يتنزل الأمر بينهن. So God is the one who created 7 skies, 7 earth, and the affairs come down from heaven to the earth. Why? لِتَعْلَمُ, so that you know. So all creation is at least partially, we don't want to say this is the only reason, but at least this is part of the reason. It's a main part of it. لِتَعْلَمُ, so that you know. You know what? أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَحَاطَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عِلْمًا. So that you know two things. One is that He is capable for doing everything. He can do everything. He has power for doing everything possible. The second thing is so that you know that He has embraced everything with His knowledge. أَحَاطَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عِلْمًا. So, for us to know that He has knowledge is very important. Okay? So, to be able to be creator and sustainer and the one who is the Lord of the world, He needs knowledge. But also for our relation with Him, we should be aware that He has knowledge. Another ayah which is very significant is the ayah which says, Alam ya'lam bi anna Allah yara. This also shows how important it is for our spirituality, for our alertness, for our awakeness, that we know that He knows what we do, what we say. To the extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased to use the term ru'ya. Although He doesn't have, eyes, He doesn't have, vision like us, but so that we understand how detailed and how accurate His knowledge is, He uses the term ru'ya. Alam ya'lam bi anna Allah yara. Because for us, when we see something, we are 100% sure. Yeah? For us, our ru'ya is the best type of knowledge that we have. Even when you hear someone's voice, it's not as good as seeing. In Farsi we say, Shanidan ki bovad manand didan. Yeah? Listening can never be like seeing. That's what we say in Farsi. So we have to know and remember that God is watching us. God is seeing us. Also, sometimes Quran says God is Sami'. He is hearing you. But again, you know that God doesn't have ear. Why He says He is Sami'? Why He says He is Basir? In addition to saying He's Alim, He says Sami', Basir. Means that He knows everything which can be heard. He knows everything which can be seen. Some Mufassirin have said, As-Sami' is the one who knows masmu'at, al-alimu bil-masmu'at. Al-Basir, al-alimu bil-mubsarat. But I think it's more than that. Sami' is not just the one who knows what can be heard. It means that His knowledge is so detailed and so particular that it's like knowledge which comes through perception. Because, when you know something by aql or by argument, it's normally general, not very, unless you have a personal experience, normally you don't have, very particular knowledge. For example, we have a discussion in Aqaid that the way God is introduced to us through philosophy or even through kalam is very general. For example, philosophers or theologians argue for the existence of God as the first cause, as the prime mover, as the necessary being, as the intelligent designer of the world. These are the terms that philosophers and theologians use to talk about God. But these don't make you feel very close to God. It's very general. But the way religion introduces God is very particular. So, in a similar way, the Quran wants to tell us that God's knowledge of us is not very general like a philosopher. He has general knowledge, but He has also very, very particular knowledge, as if He is someone who is around us and among us, watching us, hearing us. And He knows everything in the best way that we can think of. Anyway, the point for discussing this is to say that for us is very important to know God's knowledge. This is in addition to knowledge being very important for God being able to function as God. And one of the things that also we find in the Quran is that not only God has knowledge, God is also a teacher. So we have a knowledgeable God who is also a teacher, who teaches us. For example, Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran. Who is teacher here? Ar-Rahman. What is taught? Al-Quran. Then خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. You have ta'lim, then creation, then ta'lim. Yeah? Can you emphasize on the significance of ta'lim more than this? Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. Also, not only ta'lim is repeated, ta'lim is even mentioned before creation. Ar-Rahman, it doesn't say Ar-Rahman خلق الإنسان علم القرآن. It says علم القرآن خلق الإنسان. This means, first of all, the significance of ta'lim. And this also means that had it not been that Allah was going to teach Quran, He would not have created us. Because without guidance, there was no point in creating human beings. Okay?
Just repeat that.
You know, if God was not going to give us guidance through revelation, He would not have created human beings. He has created us for a purpose. That purpose can only be achieved through guidance. If guidance was not going to come, He would not have created us as human beings. Because it would be waste, of creating beings that have potential of reaching high levels of perfection through guidance and then not guiding them. Our creation and our guidance are connected. This is why Allah says, الَّذِي خَلَقَ فَسَوَّى وَالَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَحَدَى. Hidayah and creation are connected. If God was not going to create us, if God was not going to send prophets and books and revelations, He was not going to create us like this. Yeah? It's like, for example, you create something that can function in a very high level, but you don't provide with means. And always is functioning at a very low level. So what's the point? Imagine, for example, if you are making plane, but we use this plane only for driving. What's the point? So why you are wasting? You could have just made a car, a bus. Plane can fly. Human beings, through guidance, can fly. If you wanted just to have them without guidance, you could create animals. You don't need to have aql and all these things. So, ta'aleem al-Quran is very important, but also ta'aleem in general is very important, and ta'aleem comes before khalq and after khalq. Allama al-Quran, khalaq al-insan, allamahu al-bayan. Yes.
May I ask you, when we say Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran,
Yeah.
so God is teaching Quran to who? If it's before creation,
No.
or is He teaching?
No. It's mentioned before creation,
Yeah.
but ta'aleem occurs after creation.
Oh, so just to emphasize on the act of no.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes something is very important for you,
Okay.
so you may change the order.
Okay, then. So it's not the okay.
For example, sometimes you go to a place and surprisingly you see a person. Okay? For example, imagine you go to Mashhad and you see a very important person. So it's possible that you say, I saw this person, I went to Mashhad. So logically you have to say, I went to Mashhad, then I saw that. But for you that was so important that first you say, I saw that person, then you mention, I went to Mashhad, I was walking on the street, all of a sudden. But to see that person was so important that you start your kalam. So for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Quran is so important that even before talking human beings and before talking about the gift of expression and bayan, he says, Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran. Now let's talk about other things. And also, you can understand from this that this is a great part of Allah's mercy that He has taught us Quran, has created us. Everything goes back to His Rahmah. Okay? Ar-Rahman. Allama al-Quran. Ar-Rahman khalaq al-Quran. Because it's repeated. This Ar-Rahman indeed is for all of them. Yeah? Who allama al-Quran? Ar-Rahman. Who khalaq al-insan? Ar-Rahman. So, out of His Rahmah, He taught us Quran. This also has another indication. You can understand many things from this. Also, it's a lesson for us. Mu'allimul Quran should be a manifestation of Ar-Rahman. So when you go to teach Quran, you have to remember that I want to follow the example of Ar-Rahman. Not the example of Al-Qahhar, Al-Jabbar, Al-Muntaqim. No. When you go to teach Quran, Ar-Rahman. Okay? So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Mu'allim. Not only Alim. He is also Mu'allim. In the Quran also Allah says, اقرأ وربك الأكرم. اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. Question: why we say Allah is Al-Akram? اقرأ. Yeah, ربك الأكرم means by the name of your Lord who is Al-Akram, means the most honorable. Yes? The most honorable. Why He is Al-Akram? Yes.
I'm not 100% sure, but is it because through knowledge you gain honor, and honor ultimately is from God, and teachers you have to be honorable?
It seems that it's because of what comes after this. Alladhi allama bil qalam, because He has been teaching, He is Akram. In Quran and in Islam in general, there are two things only. I know only two things. If you know more, tell me. There are only two things that can give you more honor. All children of Adam have honor. Yeah? لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. They have honored children of Adam. But there are two things that can give you more honor. Can raise your honor. What are those two things? Yes. One is taqwa. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. What is the other thing? Knowledge. Knowledge. When you are alim, or when you are alim, your position goes high. Inshallah, I mentioned the verse about ilm soon. And if you are alim and muallim, you have more honor. Okay? So here it says, اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم. Allah is the most honorable. He is the one who teaches people how to use pen, which is the symbol for literature, for writing, reading, all these literature. علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. He taught human beings what they didn't know. Okay? So, you see again, God is introduced as Muallim, and also because of being Muallim, He is Akram. We also have particular cases about Allah's Ta'aleem. For example, علم آدم الأسماء كلها. Allah is Muallim for Adam here. In addition to general teaching, Allah taught Adam al-asma'a kullaha. Allah taught Adam all the facts. Okay? Allah is also teacher of the angels, because angel says, Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana. So whatever angels also know is taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the teacher for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. علمك ما لم تكن تعلم وكان فضل الله عليك عظيما. Allah is also teacher for muttaqeen. Ittaqullah wa yu'allimkumullah. If you have taqwa, Allah is going to teach you in a particular way. Allah is going to inspire you. Is going to teach you. So He is Muallim. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Muallim. Yeah? In the dua of Ibrahim and Ismail, emphasis is put on teaching. وَابْعَثْ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا مِّنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِكَ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. Actually, in dua of Ibrahim and Ismail, ta'aleem comes before tazkiyah, before purification, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 3 places changes the order. He brings tazkiyah before ta'aleem. Like Surah Jum'ah, Surah Baqarah. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. Tazkiyah comes before ta'aleem. Because you cannot teach the book and hikmah without tazkiyah. You can read for them Quran before tazkiyah. يتلو عليهم آياته. But if you want to make them understand the book and hikmah, they need tazkiyah. So, Rasulullah is Muallim. Okay? And you know this beautiful story that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to masjid, saw 2 groups of people. One were busy with learning, discussion. Another group were busy with zikr. Yeah? Remembrance of Allah through zikr. And Rasulullah said, both of them are doing good. Yeah? But He went towards those who were learning. He said, بِالتَّعْلِيمِ أُرْسِلْتُ. I have been sent to teach. بُعِثْتُ, in another place we have, Rasulullah says, بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا. Allah has sent me as a teacher. Okay? So, to know for Allah is very important. To teach is also very important. And this is also for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The other ayah that I want to mention is the ayah (11) of Surah Al-Mujadalah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قيل لكم تفسحوا في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم وَإِذَا قِيلَ انشُزُوا فَانشُزُوا. The beginning of the ayah is about adab, etiquettes of going into a meeting, a gathering. So those who are present in a gathering, when new people come, they should create for them open space. Yeah? So that the one who comes can easily get into the people and do not feel bad, I have no place, goes around, And also, when it's finished and you are asked to go, then you should go quickly. Do not, wait there, Yes. But the second part of the ayah is this. يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ. One of the very important ayat of the Quran is this ayah, because this helps you understand Islamic hierarchy of values. يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises those of you who have faith, who are mu'min. It is through iman that you go higher and higher. Okay? Faith. Surah Al-Mujadala, number 11.
58.
Pardon?
58.
Yes. Yes. Surah Mujadala is 58, chapter 58, number 11. So, through iman, Allah raises you. But then, وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمِ. Then those who have been given knowledge, they would be raised in ranks, darajat. Allama Tabatabai has a beautiful point here. He says, first, people go higher according to iman. So those who lack iman, they don't go high. They are up to a certain extent. But he says, after iman, the ranks are decided by ilm. So, mu'min who has less ilm would be lower than mu'min who has more ilm. And then if someone has even more ilm, goes higher. So the one who has greatest ilm among mu'mineen would be the highest. So, yes, but he says after iman, all the ranks are decided because of ilm. It's a very important point.
How much knowledge you have,
Yes. Another ayah is Surah Al-Zumar, verse 9. أَمَّنْ هُوَ قَانِتٌ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ سَاجِدًا وَقَائِمًا يَحْذَرُ الْآخِرَةَ وَيَرْجُو رَحْمَةَ رَبِّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometimes the Quran makes comparison. Sometimes He mentions both sides of the comparison. Sometimes He just mentions one side. But you understand by implication what is the other side. So, if someone is humble and does ibadah during the night, doing sajdah, standing up for prayer, has fear about the hereafter, and has hope for the mercy of his Lord. The other side is not mentioned, but you understand. It means that is such person equal to someone who doesn't have these qualities? Then, قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Tell them, are those who know and those who don't know equal? Just ask them. They know the answer by themselves. Yeah. It is something that people can understand by themselves. هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون إنما يتذكر أولو الألباب. Those who are people of thinking and reason, they remember. It means that this is not something that you need to be taught. You know it, but you may forget. You need a reminder. Yeah? If someone says, why we should learn? I don't think you need to teach them something that they don't know. You just need to remind them about the merits of learning, significance of learning. Otherwise, every human being loves to know. Yeah? One of the qualities that we have through fitrah is we have thirst for learning, for knowing. Yeah? Curiosity. Even if something is not going to be changing my life, still I love to know. And this is why we have to actually control our curiosity, because then we may become nosy, and we may want to know things which are not important or which may be even harmful. So there are two things that you should avoid. One is to know things that are not useful. We have many hadiths saying, do not talk, do not discuss things which are not relevant to you. Ma la ya'nik. For example, tarkul kalam fi ma la ya'nik. Something which is not related to me. I don't need to know. I shouldn't try to know. But also there are things that actually even can be harmful. Either harmful to your tranquility and peace of mind. It is very actually delicate issue. Sometimes we are dealing with people that are not good with us and honest with us. Or sometimes they have, bad, for example, plans against us. On the one hand, you want to know to protect yourself. But on the other hand, it makes your life miserable when you know that there are such people around. So sometimes you don't know whether you should know or you shouldn't know. Pardon?
It's better you stay ignorant of it.
Yes, we can discuss this because maybe it comes with many different, possibilities. But for sure, most of us, when we know such things, we would be psychologically very much disturbed, and even maybe we lose our taqwa, because we would not be able, for example, to keep this to ourselves. We want to tell everyone, we want to, for example, I don't know, or maybe we would do something as a reaction. So one of the great things in Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt was that although they knew the inner self of people, but they didn't change their behavior. It's very difficult. If you know the person who is sitting in front of you is going to kill you after some time, and you just keep helping that person and showing mercy to that person, no one feels anything. It's not easy, this is... So sometimes I think one reason why Allah doesn't teach us these things is because we are not able to keep these things. Sometimes. Of course, sometimes you have to act upon some of these things because you have a responsibility to do something. Anyway, it's a very complicated issue. So, what is important is that we control our thirst for knowing. This was the question. not to know something which is harmful, not to know even something which is useless. Or nowadays, actually there can be things which are useful, but even useful things which have no priority. Yeah? Because, today we have millions of things to learn. For example, there are thousands of languages. And of course, any language you learn is good. But do we need to learn all languages, or a language which is not going to help us a lot? There are many books to read, many articles to read, many websites to browse. So we have to control our thirst for knowledge. If human beings didn't have this curiosity and thirst for knowledge, you had to always push people. But now we have actually to pull people, back. Otherwise they will waste their energy, their attention, and yes. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, لا تسألوا عن أشياء إن تبد لكم تسؤكم. Don't ask about the things that if they are disclosed to you, they will make you upset. Okay, so the summary of what we discussed today is significance of knowledge and teaching and learning. Inshallah, we continue the discussion, inshallah, next day, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen.